All right, so far so good, guys. I'm gonna go try to get our next guest on the show, and the boxing, the heavyweight division has really taken off since this gentleman has provided us with his shenanigans as of late, and almost 2 years ago now. It's crazy. He
12 rounds of shenanigans.
Yeah, a year and a half.
Totally broke open the heavyweight division, man.
A year and a half ago, it's crazy to think that he did. He stopped the long reign of Vladimir Klitschko, and since then we haven't heard from him. I mean, we all know his troubles and stuff, but I'm going to go try to see if we can get a hold of him, and we can find out what's going on for the future, you know what I'm saying, and, kind of leave the past behind him. But I know what the heavyweight division is right now, it owes a lot to this guy right now, and just with him getting inserted back into the mix, it's going to just make the division, what I told you on Wednesday, just going to, stake the claim of it being the hottest division in boxing. So let me go get this guy here, and I'll be back. But what do you guys think next for the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury?
I mean, you can't really tell. I mean, he's so unpredictable. I mean, the guy could go out and he could, win 5-10 straight fights and not fight Joshua, or be avoided, or fight Joshua. You never can tell with him. Or he could go inactive for the next year and a half. Again, and since the Vladimir Klitschko fight, you can't really tell with him. But whatever happens with Tyson Fury, it's going to be interesting. It always is. Talking to him, seeing him fight, the guy's interesting across the board. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, man, I can't wait till he gets back into the ring. He's one of my favorite fighters. He became
all right, gentlemen. I got the man with the plan. I got the baddest man on the planet. Got the Gypsy King. Very soon it will be the return of the Mac. He is the undefeated, never defeated, never lost his heavyweight crown. Without further ado, the main man, Tyson Fury. Chance, thank you for joining us today and giving us your time. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
All right. Well, we didn't get right into it. I got my co-host with me today, and they want to, they got a lot of questions. So I'm going to have Mike Doss fire away on your valuable time right now. Mike Doss.
I'm going to ask the obvious question that everybody thinks. Everybody asks you. I know you're probably tired of hearing it, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. You got Vladimir Klitschko. You beat a version of him a year and a half ago that was a lot of people think much better than the version that fought Anthony Joshua. You went to his home country. You beat him. You beat the champion. And then you got Anthony Joshua, beating another version of that champion, in England. Now he's claiming himself being the heavyweight champion of the world. When's this finally going to be said and done? And has your people been talking? Have you been talking to Anthony Joshua's people? When are we going to see this fight?
This fight has got to happen. This is the biggest fight in British boxing history. You've got the lineal heavyweight champion being me, and you've got a pretend champion being Anthony Joshua. So the fight's going to happen. It's looking like it's going to be next June, May or June, because that's the only time the soccer stadium will be free after the season's finished. So we're looking at next year, next June.
Are you going to have any fights before then? Or I've heard you say before that you could fight him without a tune-up. Is that something still feasible, something that you plan on doing?
Yeah, definitely. But I'm trying to get back to fights in October sometime. Because I've been out of the ring a long time now, don't forget. Almost 2 years. So, yeah, I'd like to come back and have a couple of fights. Not that I need them for somebody like him, but, I'm not really doing much at the moment, so nothing better to do than train and have a couple of fights, really.
Now, Tyson, Tyson, this past, real quick, Tyson, this past, we were just talking about this, the heavyweight division, in my opinion, it has become the hottest division in boxing. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it was the dullest version of any division that was in boxing. I said a year and a half ago, actually previous to the year and a half ago, you planted the seed, you growed the flower, you basically laid the asphalt down for it now to being what it is. I think a lot of the heavyweights now are kind of taken to what you've given them, to with your your charisma, your personality, and obviously your skill. And I think a lot of them are taking the Tyson Fury approach to trying to get their name out there and put on a show for the fans. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that 100%. Klitschko had it all on lockdown for a long period of time. And like you say, 4 or 5 years ago, Klitschko had made the heavyweight division into a snooze fest. So I released all the monopoly belts and let them go all over the world. So, yeah, sort of broke it all up, made the division exciting again. There is a good few names going up, making some noise. And I'm very happy to be involved in a heavyweight division that's thriving.
We got Timmy Cudgess here. He had to get a question in real quick. Timmy Cudgess. Oh, I think we lost Tim. Elliot Vasquez. Elliot.
Yeah, I'm here.
Tyson Fury.
Yep, no problem. Hey, Tyson, I have a question. If the opportunity presents itself, would you fight Deontay Wilder before Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, I would. It's a fight that's been building for a while. Last February, I was in New York City calling Deontay Wilder out to his face. But, Deontay's taking it nice and slowly, building his trade, learning how to do it. I can't blame him for that. He came to boxing late. He's a former basketball player. So he needs to learn. And he's doing well. He's learning on the job. He's learning how to be a belt champion. So if that fight did come up right now, then I'd take it. But I can't see him wanting to fight me so soon.
And one other question. Would you fight in America again?
Yes, I'd love to fight in America again. Last time I boxed in America was 2013, I believe, at the Garden with Steve Cunningham. And it was a very, very good fight. I enjoy overboxing in the US. And it's a place I hope to come back and box again very soon.
Now, Tyson, speaking, I want to touch back on Deontay Wilder. Now, you got someone like him. Can you kind of give us your thoughts on why the American fans here in the United States haven't gotten behind someone like Deontay Wilder? I mean, we look at Tyson Fury as our heavyweight boxing hero. We look at guys like Anthony Joshua, but we don't really see Deontay Wilder as the British fans see yourself and someone like Anthony Joshua. Why do you think that is?
My opinion on the matter is America's a very, very big place. The population of the UK is only 70 million, so it's a lot smaller. The big heavyweights here are big attractions, let's say. There's not much other things to support other than boxing, football, tennis, that sort of stuff. But over there in America, there's so many different things and athletes to choose and get behind. And it's so vast of a country that, like I say, there's so many other things to support. But Wilder has not been, shall I say, making lots of noise. And I don't know if he's a great ticket seller in America. He needs to be involved in big fights and good fights. You can't just be WBC champion and fight people who no one has ever heard of. Because the fighters who he's been fighting, other than Chris Arreola, of note, people in the UK would never have heard of them. So
the biggest thing he's done, champ, was fighting Charlie Zelenoff. Do you remember the video he had on TMZ with the guy, the crazy guy, Charlie Zelenoff? That's what I know Deontay Wilder, and I know Deontay Wilder took all the other guys that Charlie Zelenoff took a better punch than all the other guys that he's faced. So I mean, to me, that's the biggest thing he's done. I know in the UK, that's all they talk about.
Yeah, he did get quite a lot of publicity for that, but you know what it is? I think the American boxing fans and fight fans especially should get behind Deontay Wilder because he's what you've been waiting for a long time. He's big, he's brash, he's outspoken, he's a good-looking guy, he's charismatic. He tries to be anyway. He tries to be. And he's undefeated knockout artist. So why the US ain't taking Deontay Wilder by storm, I do not know. I do not know what's going on. Maybe it's because he's from the South or whatever, and he's not boxing in like New York City all the time or in the big places, Las Vegas, wherever. So maybe that's the reason why. Or maybe he needs to get in more mainstream shows and things like that. You know, like big talk shows and big TV personality shows. Maybe he needs to get a bit more involved in that. But I know that Deontay Wilder is a bigger name in England than he is in America. And that's kind of crazy, isn't it?
It's right now that in England they're running it. They're running the game right now. I gotta give yourself credit and everyone else. All the British fighters, they've really taken over. Even you got the Irish fighters as well. They're really taking over. I mean, got to give you guys props.
Yeah.
You helped make boxing exciting again. I mean, don't worry, we got our guys here, but I'm more interested in what's going on over in the UK.
Yeah, we are thriving over in England and Ireland, Britain and Ireland. There are some decent fighters coming through. There's a lot of big shows over here. Boxing in the UK has become more of a mainstream sport, maybe second or third to football and maybe tennis or whatever. But before it was like way down the list, but now it's more mainstream. A lot more, shall I say, general fans, people who don't know about boxing, are starting to get involved in it because they've seen it a lot more. It's on TV every day, every week, and they've got their own TV station over here which just designated the boxing. Most of the TV stations are trying to do something with boxing because they can see that they're being successful in other TV stations. So it's more mainstream over here, I'd say, than it is in the US. Now, let's not pretend or get anything wrong here with me. Boxing in America is a big thing, isn't it? When Mayweather fights, most people will watch that fight and talk about it. But like you say, he's getting on, and boxing needs a new star. And we need to find big stars, because without the American interest, then the British fighters can never cross over to the US and be involved in massive fights. It's all right being a champion of a small pond, but you want to cross over the pond and be the champion of the ocean, don't you? You want to be involved in big UK, US showdowns, because that's what it's about. Like, if you look at Lennox Lewis and guys like that, be involved in fights with Mike Tyson and all these other great fighters from the past, they all have to come from England to America, where it seems now that the Americans are wanting to cross over and fight in England. So it's almost on a 360-degree turn.
No, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, Elliot.
Tim back in, Frank.
No, Tim's out. But yeah, go jump in there, Dust.
All right, I want to ask you. You speaking of Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis, Lennox waited most of his career for that Mike Tyson fight. It seems like after he fought Mike Tyson, he had a good fight against Vitaly Klitschko. A lot of people thought he was losing that fight. Decided never to fight again. He even said after that Mike Tyson fight, he pretty much lost everything that he really had. I mean, he got that one win, and that was kind of the end of his career. About your fight with Vladimir Klitschko, when you beat him, a lot easier than Anthony Joshua did. When you beat him, did you kind of have that same effect? Like, you know what, I beat the champ that's been champion for 10 plus years. What else is there to do right now? Did you have a hard time getting motivated after that fight? And do you feel like this really could have happened the best way possible with Anthony Joshua beating Vladimir Klitschko?
Yes, I think you got a good view on the situation. See, I grew up as a kid coming through amateur boxing, looking at Vladimir Klitschko ruling the division then. Let's not forget, I didn't have an amateur boxing fight until late 2005, by the time he was already a world champion. So I grew up watching the guy, come from a whole career watching him, and I had my aim set on beating this man that nobody could beat, really. Although he lost a couple of fights along the way, he always avenged them or won it back. And him and his brother were controlling the division for so long that I always set my sights on beating this guy, and I always knew I could beat him, and I had his number. And when I actually beat him, it was like, what next? I beat the guy who nobody could beat, so there's no more early challengers. You've only got a young kid coming up, Anthony Joshua. He's not that young, he's the same age as me, but as in experience-wise, and you got Deontay Wilder the same. So I lost interest in boxing, and I walked away from it because I felt like I'd climbed. Vladimir Klitschko was my Everest, and I had conquered my Everest, and it was like, what now? What do I do now? And the fight was quite an easy fight, not being big-headed or anything, but it was quite an easy fight for me. This was a guy who ruled the roost for so long. But if I could do this to this guy, then I'm thinking I could do this to any of them, really, because before this fight with me and Vladimir, nobody thought that anyone could come close to Vladimir, never mind school him, take him to school. So then I thought to myself, well, if this is top of boxing, then it ain't all what it's cracked up to be. So then I sort of fell out of love with the game, lost motivation, wasn't really interested in training or boxing anymore. And then all of a sudden, you've got this guy who comes out blue, a knockout artist in Anthony Joshua, who in my opinion is nothing more than a pumped-up weightlifter. Who's knocking out guys and started sport late and don't know about sweet science, don't know about the boxing game, doesn't know about history on boxing. Just a new, fresh guy who's come from nowhere, and in a few years, he's all of a sudden on top because he's a popular guy. Well, now everyone's saying, well, we think Anthony Joshua could knock Tyson Fury out. That is giving me motivation, because I don't think no bodybuilder or weightlifter can knock me out, because it's all right in pumping iron and lifting whatever they want to lift, 500 pounds or whatever, but when you're in a ring, it's not a pushing contest or a shoving contest. It's about sweet science, and you can have all the power in the world, but if you can't land it on the chin, it's going nowhere. And we all seen after a few rounds of missing that he didn't have any energy left, and Vladimir was very silly for letting him off the hook, because from where I was sitting, Anthony Joshua was out on his feet for 3 rounds, and he didn't throw a punch for 3 rounds, and he should have been attacked. But whatever the reasons being was, maybe it was to create another fight for more money. I have no clue what was going on, because a middleweight could have knocked Anthony Joshua out at that stage, because he was totally gone, shot to pieces. And then he let him recover and end up losing the fight. So sort of fishy going on. But if the world thinks that this guy, this newcomer, can beat someone as experienced and knowledgeable on the game like myself, then I want to relish that challenge, because I know for a fact that he can't beat me. My boxing ability alone would be too much for him, because when he can't land a big power punch, he runs out of ideas, similar to Deontay Wilder, without being disrespectful to these guys. They're both world champions, they're both undefeated, they're both quite popular, but they're not sweet science perfectionists. Like me, I love the game, I study the game, I know every heavyweight boxer from the 1800s until now. It's just a no contest. So these guys can't talk boxing with me. They can't talk. They don't know about defense. They don't know about feinting. They don't know about anything. They're just straight up punches with a chin stuck up in the air. That's how it works. I used to think that it was just the British fighters who, growing up, my dad always said the American fighters have the head movement, slipping or sliding or awkward. They could use the shoulders for blocking. And you got the British fighters who stand there with their hands up around their head and the chin up in the sky. And I always thought it was like the Brits who'd done all that. But now I see it, a lot of Americans are standing there with their chin up in the sky, and they're not moving their head anymore. They're not using the feints in the heavyweight division. The sweet science is dead in the heavyweight division if you take me out of the game. All you got now is a lot of stiff Europeans pumping iron, and some American football players who decided to come to boxing because they couldn't make it at basketball or American football. I chose to be a heavyweight boxer. My destiny was to be the heavyweight champion of the world and beat the best man out there. I didn't come to boxing because I couldn't make it in anything else. I come to boxing because it was what I was bred to do, what I love to do, and that's why I do it. I don't do it for anything else other than to be the best and to take on all challenges. And I just hope that I can get back to what I once was, and I'm not killed with age. I'm still only 28. A lot of these heavyweights are more than 28 years old, and I believe I've got good experience and still undefeated. I have always said I'm the saviour of the heavyweight division, and I proved that in 2015 when I took out Klitschko. And I will prove it time and time again against these guys who's new to the game. And I'd say the only chance that they have of beating me is a puncher's chance. And to land that big punch on me, it's quite easy to beat me, knock me out, and then you've won. Failing to do that, you're not going to win. Simple.
Tyson, I'm gonna wrap this up with one more question with you. We appreciate your time. Your cousin, Hughie Fury, is finally getting his shot. This time, I think, on better terms. It's going to happen in Manchester on September 23rd. I know you got a ton of respect for the current champ, Joseph Parker. Obviously, you're backing your cousin in this one. How do you see this fight playing out on September 23rd?
If I'm honest, and I'm always honest, as I've made a trade to being honest and straight, I think it's a real tough fight for both fighters. And that's hand on heart. I think it's a real 50-50 fight. They're both unbeaten, both over 20-0, and they're both only young guys, 20, 23, and 24. So they could both, a loss at this stage won't be the end of the world for either fighter. And I think it's whoever really wants it the most will win this fight. Whoever it means more to will win this fight. And that's my honest opinion. And I could easily have said to you guys, oh yeah, I think Hughie Fury will win by knockout or win the fight easy. I don't see it like that. I see it as a real tough fight for both fighters. And whoever wants to go on and reign as a world champion will win this fight. And that's how it's got to be won.
Well, Tyson, man, we appreciate your time today, man. I know, it's a Saturday. I know you're out there chilling, but again, I can't express our gratefulness towards you for giving us your time here today. And hopefully, when you get your next fight coming close in October, we can give you a ring and talk some more boxing with you, if you don't mind.
No problem.
Right,
I love talking boxing.
We love talking to you. Sure, God
Yes,
bless
we
you,
do.
bro. We love talking to you, Tyson, and we really appreciate your time tonight, champ.
All the best, guys, and take it
All
easy.
the best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyson.
Take care. Take care, Tyson.
Hello.